We have here one of the most coolest aerodynamic bikes I've seen in a long time. This is the 3T Strada Italia in a size large 56 with a bottle cage on there, no pedals, no out front mount, weighing 18 pounds, 0.04 ounces, and 8.28 kilograms. Stay tuned after the video where you guys will hear the free buy sound test on those wheels, and we'll talk about why this bicycle is such an aerodynamic beast. Look at this aerodynamic beauty right here. This is a bold take because obviously everyone has their own preference, but I absolutely fell in love with the look of this bike right here. This is the 3T Strada Italia. This is their compliant AERO road bike that they definitely worked on to go ahead and make it way more comfortable, but still offer speed and stiffness at the highest level here. This is one of the nicest frames I've seen in a long time in terms of quality craftsmanship, but it does not come at a cheap price. The frame set alone, I believe, is somewhere in the realm of $6,500 USD. This bike, as you guys see right here with the SRAM Force, the older Force with a power meter and their own 3T wheels, I believe goes for like $11,300. But they say that this frame is made in Italy, and then they use their own filament winding carbon fiber technique to go ahead and lay down the carbon fiber inside the frame. And they did a ton of different designs on the bicycle to go ahead and make it much more aerodynamic, which we'll talk about in just a second. But it is a aerodynamic beast. I mean, the head tube on it is massive. It literally looks like a time trial bike, but in road bike form. And it has everything that people want in today's standards. They have a UDH hanger. You can run a 1x with the new SRAM Red XPLR or Explorers. You can run a 1x13 if you wanted to, so it's future-proof for the UDH. You can fit up to a 700/35C tire on there, which is definitely going to help out with the compliancy for an aerodynamic bike. But when designing and crafting a bicycle like this, that's supposed to be very, very stiff and responsive as all aero bikes should be, you want it to go ahead and be comfortable. And I'll tell you this much. I've been riding for what, 15 years, whatever it is. I mean, I started off young. Here in Florida, weight is not that big of a factor. Going from 15 pounds to 18 pounds is not the biggest deal because my weight will fluctuate daily. You guys see me on my channel all the time, making my bike as light as possible, doing weight weenie builds and stuff like that. But on aerodynamic bikes and riding where I'm riding at with these high-end speeds, when a bike is at that high-end speed, you want something that's going to be stiff in that bottom rack area, so whenever you're at those high-end speeds, you want to put down power and you want it to respond. The weight is not the biggest deal right there. So 3 pounds to 18 pounds, yes, it is heavy by today's standards for a bicycle. But, I mean, honestly, you can go ahead and put this thing on a diet if you want to throw more money at it. But I promise you, if you rode this bike in any kind of group ride down here, any kind of crit race, whatever it is down here, where it's completely flat and being utilized where it should be, the bike will be a rocket ship. And I actually get the pleasure of riding this bike for a little bit to give my kind of ride review on this thing. But I love the lines of it. I love everything about this bike. So let's go ahead and get into the bike itself and talk about everything it did. So starting off with the cockpit, they use their own components on here. This is their own 3T stem and their own 3T bar. Now, I've heard other reviewers say this bar is kind of compliant on here. I'm sorry, very stiff on the bar itself. But I've always known to work with 3D components in the past with them being a little bit more compliant. They have some flex to it. I think that's really a major design in the bars to go ahead and allow for the overall ride. They make a very stiff bike, but the bars up top here where your hands, your shoulders, your elbows, your triceps, everything that's gonna feel those vibrations, this is gonna help dampen those vibrations. So I've always kind of felt like 3T has been a little more compliant on their handlebars. And if you put down a little bit of pressure right there, you can see a little bit of flex. And I got that same feeling when building up this bike. Whereas the bike, everything that translates to power will be really stiff. But they don't have, I didn't see on their website a fully integrated cockpit. They said they did this for the fact that they wanted to be able to tilt the bars the way of a consumer liking. You still have the breakaway spacers so you can go ahead and lower it. But the whole idea when making this bicycle is all about aerodynamics. So they want to go ahead and make this thing as slim and thin as possible. So you can see other bikes out there, they have these big wide head tubes. 3T said, no, we're doing something different. They actually reduced the size of the crown on the fork itself and the head tube, and then they made custom size headset bearings to fit the 1.5 millimeter steer inside of here. So they wanted to go ahead, reduce the size for aerodynamics, tuck in that down tube, make it as minimalistic as possible, but they want to make sure that the fork steer was stiff, it was stable, it was secure. So they created that 1.5 millimeter steer design, and then they went ahead and made custom bearings for the headset as well to work with this bicycle. So again, I mean, look at this bike when you're staring at a straight line. It is thin, it is paper thin. So it's a very nice design, and still being able to go ahead and make 700 by 35C tires. If I do say so myself, I would say that this bike came before the Cervelo S5, the new one, and this looks almost identical. I think if you had those V-shaped bars on here, this bike would literally look like a Cervelo S5 on there for sure. Obviously the forks are a little bit skinnier, but again, like I said, they did just deep enough forks on here to go ahead and make it AERO, but they didn't want to create too much drag, so that's why they put it right there. And again, with the head tube line to match the seat state drop as well, they wanted to have as many clean lines as possible. Going to the wheels, these are their own brand wheel set, and this is where the bike gets a little bit confusing to me. On their website, the bicycle I said was $11,300. It comes with Zip 303 wheels. These are their own 3T, 32 millimeter in the front, 45 millimeter in the rear. For this kind of bike, I would like to at least see 50 millimeter wheels in here if if this is a full AERO bike. I want to see 50s and above on this kind of bike, stock to spec. Now I know what they're trying to say. They're trying to give maybe a wider internal rim width on there. They're maybe trying to go ahead and make it a little bit lighter by doing that. But still, go all out, put some heavier wheels in there, put some deeper wheels in there. I mean, the new Cervelo S5 by any means is not crazy lightweight, but they went ahead and stuck by their guns by doing like a 57/64 wheel set. So I would like to see that. I don't know too much about these wheels. I'll get to testing on them and see how they feel. But they look pretty wide for the internal width and externals. They have a nice shape to them. They're bladed spokes, their own 3T hubs. They come stocked with Vittoria Corsa Pro 700 by 30C tires. They are butyl tubes. We might swap those out. We'll see. But a very clean design. Also for the fork and the rear brake caliper, they make a custom fitting for the fork, so you don't need any fittings for the brake caliper. You can only run 160 on this bicycle. So no more brake adapters. It goes straight to the bike, and you can only run 160 for the rotors on there themselves. So keep that in mind. But a very clean, we go down to this other side, very clean tucked away tire again. You see that nice tucked away tire in the down tube. You have the Strada Italia logo right there. And right there you can see that nice filament winding carbon fiber, similar to like the other companies like Time or people who do that. And that's really why this bicycle is going to come in that premium price tag. I would say this brand is a very high-end enthusiast niche brand, but I'm seeing more and more people go the route of 3T, even on my local group rides. There's really no 3T dealers around me, but I've been seeing more and more people order these bikes because of the look of them and what you're capable of doing on them. So it's a very cool bike. Even for the down tube, when they went in and built this, they want to do it as thin as possible here, but then they bowed this out to clean up the dirty air for the water bottle. So this is completely covered if you have a water bottle right here. And then also same for the other water bottle as well. That's going to allow this area to be completely clean. And then this girth, this girth is also going to add testament to the stiffness of the bottom bracket. For the bottom bracket itself, they said they use a threaded BB right here. So you have but it looked like on the frame itself, I think the frame is I could be very wrong here, but it looked like the frame was a press fit, and then the bottom bracket just threaded into the bottom. Let me know down in the comment section if I'm wrong there, but look at how massive this BB is. You have really, these curvatures of this carbon fiber is going to add to the stiffness of this entire bike. So when you're putting on power, this thing is going to deliver. You have a SRAM force crank on here and a 172.5 configuration. And then for the chainring, I'm going to say it's a 4835. 4633, again, this is where we're going to get at it. If you're an AERO bike and you're claiming for AERO, put a 50 on there. I mean, at least a 4835, but put a 50 on there. Make it an AERO bike, call it what it is, and set up how you want. Kind of upset with that, but it does have a power meter on there. But yeah, I mean, if you're going fast speeds, you're going to have to swap out that 46 right away. That's like a compact gearing. SRAM Force front derailleur, SRAM Force rear derailleur, and then a 1030 cassette in the rear SRAM Force as well. But you can even see the clean lines for the curvature of the seat posts. One downside is that these bikes are very small room for the seat posts in here, so you do have to cut them pretty much out of the box, and that will obviously take away from resale value to you. But you can always, if you were selling the bike after riding it for a long time, you can always go ahead and just buy a new seat post for that. But yeah, Going on over to the other side, again, a 160mm rotor with the direct mount SRAM Force disc brake caliper on there as well. And then, like I mentioned before, it is UDH compatible, so you can run a similar setup to what I'm running on my bike right now. I'm running a 1x13 in the SRAM Force XPLR set. This is just going to make it a little bit easier if you buy a bike, maybe not even from a shop. Every single bike shop that you go into now will have a UDH hanger in there, so it'll make it very easy for traveling, and it should make your life a little bit easier for maintenance on a bike. And then for the seat posts, it's their own proprietary seat posts. You have the seat collar right here, which will go ahead and adjust to 8 Nm, made in Italy. And that's why I do have to say, like I said before, that's where I think a lot of this price tag comes from, is that they're making these bikes in Italy. That's what they say. And they do all of their filament winding carbon fiber, their resin transfer molding, their RTM as well. So that's where a lot of this high-end production of this bike. They say the ride quality of this thing is absolutely amazing. I'm excited to get on it and try it out. So very, very hyped for it. And then you have here their Sella San Marco short fit saddle. Very comfortable, very wide cutout for the prostate. That's the most California name I've heard in my life. Sella San Marco short fit. But yeah, really cool bike. I will say this. This bicycle I think is a little bit high for the price tag with a SRAM Force in there. But obviously their frame set alone for being $6,500 is expensive. So they're saying that their quality of their product outweighs the market and that they are top tier. I will be riding this bike and getting ahead and getting to enjoy that and see if this is a complete 9-day difference from everything else that's out there on the market. So we'll find that out together. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Stay tuned to after this video right now where you guys are going to get a free up buy sound test. Here comes a free up buy sound test on these 3T wheels. 3T hub. Here we go. Nice and stable. What's he doing over there? I know what he's doing over there. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you again so much for watching, and then stay tuned for my ride review on this bike. Bye.